Hi everybody, I'm Jen Bose and I'm here with Deb Ellinger, one of my closest friends, and we're talking about joy in this sermon series, and I thought this is a wonderful opportunity to talk to someone that I know who I see the joy of the Lord in on a consistent basis. For years and years and years I've known her, and I see that coming out. And even now, in this hard circumstance in her life, the joy is not gone. And so it's going to be wonderful for us to glean from her what it's like to live with the joy of the Lord. So my first question is to kind of give everyone a little bit of like a background, like what was happening in your life when you got your cancer diagnosis, and what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed December 27th, and during that time, my dad was also battling cancer. He has stage 4 lung cancer and was placed in hospice care during the same time of my diagnosis and going through chemo. So that in itself is challenging, along with raising a family and being a wife and still doing all those things and having jobs to manage. And I'll be honest, like, the first thing I thought is, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong here that this is happening? And so I had to really wrestle with that, knowing that's not how our God works, but and battling that lie in my mind that this wasn't about something I did.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how normal that is, a reaction. Like, that's our first go-to. But it's not true.
Right. It's just a big fat lie.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is.
Okay. There was a very unique and interesting, and I don't know what emotion to put with it, moment where you and Jake shaved your heads together.
We did.
So tell us about that.
So I had huge anxiety about losing my hair. And you read all the research about approximately the time you're going to lose it once you start chemo, and but I had this big fear of waking up in the morning and a clump of hair being on my pillow. And so so every day I was like, oh, maybe we'll shave it today. Maybe, and Jake was like, whenever you're ready, I'm going to do it too. We're going to do it. And so one day all of our kids were home and we decided we were going to do it together. And I found so much joy in that because it released me from worrying about this ridiculous thing of hair that's going to grow back anyways. Yeah. And then I found out that I have a good bald head. Like, I was like,
you look good.
I can wear this.
You rock it.
And so I was like, that was like, it really was a pure joy moment. And then it really did just bring like a level of like peace and joy at my house, because my kids could see that it wasn't this traumatic thing. It didn't need to be that way.
Yes.
It was actually a fun moment for our family.
Yeah. So beautiful.
It was fun.
So beautiful and so joyful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're in Philippians 3 today.
We are. It's a great place to be.
Yes. And so how does this apply to you? Okay. Paul's the writer of Philippians, and he says, I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of sharing in his sufferings.
Yeah. So good and so hard all at the same time, right? Yeah. Well, when I read that verse, when I was asked to read that verse, I was like, it's such a good reminder to me that, like, Jesus suffered too. And we are not promised that we won't, right? I mean, we're promised on the other side of earth that we will no longer be suffering. But we are not promised that here. Do I believe in God's healing? I absolutely do. Do I believe it could happen on this side of heaven? I absolutely do. But I also believe that if Jesus suffered, I mean, why wouldn't I suffer? Why wouldn't you suffer? I mean, he was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Tell me how your mindset has not changed. Like how has it been struggling through, but I still see you having so much joy. Like, why do you think the joy hasn't left?
Yeah, I mean, there's days it probably has. Like, I mean, I have not mastered it. I do not have it all figured out. I definitely don't. And there's a lot of hard days, and there's a lot of days of crying and frustration at my house. But I do just have so much joy in knowing that, like, this is not where I'm going to be forever. Like I'm not. And so my time here is limited and always has been. Cancer didn't change that. Like that's just the reality for all of us.
It made it more real.
It just made it more real.
Yeah.
Which really motivated me to really be intentional with who like my conversations, my words, my actions, my behaviors, and just having that mindset of every day, like I have an opportunity, like this is an opportunity instead of like this is a job or a challenge. This is actually an opportunity to bring people to Jesus and just show that even in hard times you can have joy. So what can I do today to be a legacy? Like what can I do today to be a role model of who Jesus is? And that kind of gets me through like chemo or just every day when it's just rough. I mean, I'm solid in studying scripture, and I have a great group of community of people that have surrounded our family and loved on us so much that I can't even, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing with joy without our family here and people just loving us so well and so hard during this.
Yay. Yeah. So God's word, support, and I mean, I just think He's put it in you. He's put this beautiful joy in you that no matter what, you're shining it. And I admire you. You inspire so many people. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks.